So Samantha, you're one of the people, the very few that actually get to be in the arena and watch the games. From your opinion, what have you seen from the Caps and what is going on as they are now down 2-0 against the Islanders?
Yeah, I think we've seen both from game one and game two. They've got off to a really strong start. You can kind of just like feel the energy in the building, even though there's no fans. You could hear it on the ice. You could see the players looked engaged. They looked ready to go. And I think really game two, I thought that first Alex Ovechkin goal less than a minute in was kind of that spark that the Capitals needed. And then all of a sudden, kind of like in game one, that it kind of fizzled out. The Islanders just really took control defensively. The Capitals just struggled getting, out of their own zone. And I think for the Caps overall, it was just a strong start, slow finish, and it's been kind of that way for a lot of the season, I would say. I think the latter half, they just really struggled in that department, just closing out games. So I think moving on, obviously you need more offense than TJ Oshie and Alex Ovechkin, but definitely just being in the arena, you can just see it on the ice of, okay, they're going, and then all of a sudden it's just a kind of a slow slope downward as the game progresses.
We've seen now head coach Todd Reirden bench a couple players in game one. We saw that he benched Kuznetsov. Game two, Verana. What do you make of that? And do you expect any lineup changes come game three?
Yeah, I think there definitely will be a couple lineup changes for game three. I don't know exactly what those lineup changes will be, just because there are a couple of moving parts. Obviously, the first thing you think of is a Travis Boyd on the third line. We don't know if Nick Backstrom is going to be back on Sunday. The team said they're hopeful, but then again, we've heard that word a lot of times now, and guys don't seem to be coming back as quickly as we might have thought. So I think that maybe they shake up the forward core. I think maybe on the D side, there's a couple guys that might get kind of the nod to sit, and a couple might come up. So I think there's definitely the potential for some lineup changes. I think it's all about the trust between the coaches and the players. If Todd feels like one of his younger guys, like a Martin Feravari or a Brian Pinho, could come in and really help, then I think why not throw him in for game three? You're in an 0-2 hole. What could go wrong situation?
Right.
But definitely, just talking like the benching, like Verana, last night in game two, I think that was just kind of a message that Todd's done all season to players. He's benched Lars Eller before. He's benched Kuznetsov. He's benched all these guys throughout the season to kind of teach them that, hey, you messed up. You got to sit. Now go back out there and produce. And now, will that create any sparks for game three? We'll see. But those guys definitely need to step up if the Caps have any shot at finishing out the series.
Can you pick a bright spot so far from games 1 and 2 in your mind? Give us some hope, Samantha.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a gimme, but like the PK is probably the clear bright spot. They did give up that one power play goal. It was a little on Holtby, a little on, Nick Dowd giving up a pretty bad penalty there. But overall, I think they were 14 of 14 before that power play goal. So it looked like the Caps PK was really holding on. It was kind of doing its job. And when the Capitals were so undisciplined, not to go back to the negative, but they had so many minor penalties, the PK really balance that out for them to have any shot and to even be close in the early goings of these games. So I would say PK, and then also, Alex Ovechkin, he had a 2-goal night. He looked like he was trying everything he could there in the first couple of periods. He did miss on that power play chance in the third, that wide open net. But, other than that, those would be probably the two bright spots, and overall a lot of work moving forward.
So looking at the other side of the ice, the opponents in New York Islanders, where do you see an advantage that they might have moving forward with the Caps coming into game three?
Yeah, I think the Islanders are just so sound systematically and defensively. Obviously, Caps fans know Barry Trotz well. They know his system. They know kind of how he functions behind the benches. And so I think for the Islanders, they're just very confident in their system and how it works. They don't seem very panicky on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're down early, they just seem like they kind of play their game and it just works. Maybe it's a couple, lucky bounces, or it's a bad turnover from Verana at the blue line that gives them, the breakaway goal last night. But I really think they play so calm and confident, and they know that they believe in their system that eventually good things will happen. And I think the Capitals probably have that in them to play that way. It just seems like through these first two games, it's the complete opposite, and the Islanders are doing all that.